if I was a man, and I'm not a man, but if I was a man, I wouldn't hire a woman. I wouldn't do it. And I say it all the time, and I say that, and that is something that women need to consider when they're talking about this stuff. When you are saying that a man complimenting you and saying, I really like your outfit today, is a form of sexism. If you're a man, why hire a woman, right? So you fought all this time to be able to get into the workforce only to say these are going to be the rules. If you say anything, even if you compliment me, if you look at me, anything, I'm going to have a reason to fight you. And by the way, you're going to want to settle and pay me because even just the stain of an accusation is enough to ruin men. So if you're a guy, right, in this society, in this Me Too environment, in this litigation-rich environment of misogyny and sexism and all of these claims, what is the value add? What's the risk? The benefit and the risk. I can't do the analysis and say, I'd just be like, no, I'm just not hiring one. Give me all the men.
A couple of years back, there was a study that revealed most managers would rather employ a man in his 20s or 30s over a woman of the same age group. Although it's been a few years, the reality is still the same today. A third of managers would rather employ a man in his 20s or 30s over a woman of the same age for fear of maternity leave. A survey of 500 managers by a law firm showed that more than 40% of managers admitted they are generally wary of hiring a woman of childbearing age, while a similar number would be wary of hiring a woman who has already had a child or hiring a mother for a senior role. A quarter said they would rather hire a man to get around issues of maternity leave and childcare when a woman does return to work, with 44% saying the financial costs to their business because of maternity leave are a significant concern. The study also showed that a third of managers claim that women are not as good at their jobs when they return from maternity leave. The unintended consequences of #MeToo just seemed to get worse and worse. Initially, there was evidence that men were shying away from one-on-one interactions with women at work, including mentoring, one-on-one work meetings, and socializing. Now, new research reveals women may be less likely to be hired for jobs where they are required to interact with men. The new study found a shocking 21% of men and 12% of women report they are personally more reluctant to hire women for jobs that require close interpersonal interaction with men, like business travel. And these are just the employees who are aware of their bias. There are likely more that are unconsciously biased in favor of men for these jobs. In addition, a bias against attractive women emerged. Almost 1 in 5 men and about 6% of women report that as a result of #MeToo, they are less likely to hire attractive women. This research, soon to be published in the journal Organizational Dynamics, is the first that has found that both men and women are altering their hiring behavior as a result of #MeToo. And this is all from a credible article that first appeared online in Forbes magazine. These statistics are pretty staggering, so what can be done to reduce the backlash? Having more women around the workplace helps. The researchers described that the more women that were present in organizations and work groups, the less the backlash and negative attitudes they found. Ironically, the #MeToo backlash may be resulting in fewer women being hired, not more. Reluctance to hire women joins a long list of behaviors at work that have been negatively impacted by #MeToo. Research from leanin.org and SurveyMonkey last spring revealed that a whopping 60% of male managers were uncomfortable participating in common, job-related activities with women, such as mentoring, working alone together, or socializing together. The Pew Research Center found that 51% of employees reported feeling that #MeToo made interactions with the opposite gender at work harder. It's important to note that all of this reluctance to interact with the opposite gender can't be blamed on #MeToo. Research from the New York Times, just prior to the #MeToo movement, indicated that 22% of men were reluctant to meet one-on-one with a woman. However, #MeToo does seem to be making the situation worse. The elephant in the room is on parental leave. When an employee of a large business takes substantial time away from work, it naturally causes some disruption, but the firm has the resources to handle it. It'll also be well aware of the benefits that come from an enlightened attitude to parental leave, which more than compensate for any disruption: access to a bigger, brighter talent pool and more diverse thinking at work. These apply to small firms too, but the disruption of a staff member going on paid leave for several months is potentially far more profound. If you're a team of 2, it's much harder to find someone to cover for such an absence than if you're a team of 20. The viewpoint was neatly summed up by a small business that said, "What's the point in hiring someone, spending all that money developing them, if they're going to go and get themselves pregnant in a couple of years and disappear again? It's more trouble than it's worth." The reality is that men would rather work more freely with other men. This only serves to demonstrate how increasingly wary males have become of women throughout time, especially in the last 10 years, and how much they would prefer to communicate and work with other guys. In cubicles, meetings, and boardrooms, they prefer to work with other males rather than women because they can share information, talk about ideas, and organize their schedules together. This is due to their fear of losing the career they have worked so hard to build over a long period of time. They may lose everything with just one unfounded accusation. In a society that primarily takes into account and believes what women say, one false charge could end up being the villain. The truth is that the typical attractive modern woman of today is out of reach anyway. In every movie you see, regardless of how recent or how old it is, the lead character is either the most attractive woman or the most attractive man who is incapable of wrongdoing and who works to uphold justice in society. The evil men and villains are always aged, gorgeous, scarred people who look awful. It should therefore come as no surprise that neither men nor women would want to consider hiring attractive women, because if a woman made a false complaint against a man, everyone would assume that she was telling the truth. Everyone can see a guy trying to flirt with a beautiful woman. That is how it has always been. Men will continue to avoid working with women as long as they continue to overreact to the movement and level false charges against them that we constantly see in the media. There's no place for gossip and drama at the office. Unfortunately, that's what most women bring to it. Companies will secretly continue to avoid hiring women because they know the more women they have in the company, the more drama it will lead to, and the more its work and profits will suffer as a result. I've said this before, and I'll share this example again. We've all seen the likes of Google, Facebook, or Meta, and Amazon, Microsoft, and Twitter lay off thousands of employees. We've seen COVID's effects on organizations as they realized they'd overhired during the pandemic. But the thing that you might not know is that most companies are on a hiring freeze when it comes to women. This might be shocking to know, and no company will tell you this, but more and more companies are avoiding hiring women to join their ranks. I'm not saying the tech companies I mentioned are doing this. No, not at all. But there are quite a lot of companies that are secretly trying to hire men instead of women. You see, over the last decade, and with the increase in the implementation of the feminist agenda, more and more companies were made to hire women by law. Companies had gender quotas that they needed to fill. They had several mandatory female workers that they had to hire as board members, or regional or global heads of various departments, such as marketing and procurement. But all of that came at a price. Equal rights come with equal responsibilities, but not for women. Women are the darlings of society who can get all the benefits of equality, but barely any responsibility. What they don't tell people about the MeToo movement is that it only applies to women. Men who are harassed or assaulted by a female co-worker are essentially ignored until irrefutable evidence is provided proving otherwise. Even then, the female is usually counseled and rarely dismissed. There aren't any other derogatory impacts. They are free to make counter-accusations, and that puts the men on the defensive and impacts their careers and future no matter the outcome. Even if proven the female was the aggressor, if a counter-allegation is made, he's still finished in that business. Now, fewer women are being hired by large companies because they know that apart from the quotas that they have to fill to keep the shareholders happy, they don't have much to gain from hiring women. But did women bring this on to themselves? Is this a failure of feminism? Let's wait and see. But it will take some time for organizations to come out of the closet about this and reveal the truth. Thanks for watching Man Reacts. Show us your love and support by liking this video, sharing it with your friends, and subscribing to the channel. Support us and help us spread support for men around the world. Do comment and share your thoughts. We're always up for a healthy debate and discussion.